The city of Detroit, with no hope of the gospel, will continue to decline and fall because of the lack of love, because of the lack of compassion. And we know that Jesus had great compassion when he looked out on the multitude. But there's despair and there's brokenness. And the reason that there's despair and brokenness is because we have not taken grasp and a hold of those things that God has entrusted unto us. It's funny because I accepted Christ at an early age, but wasn't able to live out the principles of the faith because of a lack of teaching and because of a lack of just a serious mentor in the faith. And so now as an adult and after really coming into a closer relationship with Jesus Christ, my own story, I was in the streets, I was hanging out, I was partying, I was doing my own thing. And there was a lot of things, just skipping school and drug behavior and just different things that I took part in, not knowing that God had such a promise for my life. But that was the road that I had to walk in order to be effective now to go back and minister to people, living in many of the same ways, doing many of the same things. But God brought me through it, that now I could become a vessel of honor for His name's sake, and I could be a tool that He could use to draw other young men to Him. I was sitting in church on a weekly basis, working in ministry, and teaching the Word of God, and I knew that there had to be more. God had placed a passion in my heart for young people, and in the community, there was a huge population of young people that were not being ministered to. We had an impact on the kids in the church, but there were more kids that were missing than kids that were getting. And so there came a time when I had to make a decision that, God, there's something you're calling me to do. I didn't exactly, it's the old Abram story. I didn't know where God was going to take me, and I didn't know, exactly what the plan was going to be. But we stepped out on faith, believing that if we would preach the Word of God and love God's people, that God did have a plan, and God worked His plan. The community was a really rough community. Young men everywhere, young ladies everywhere, families that were there were broken families, living in despair. I believe that the church is a lighthouse in the community. And because the darkness was there, when we moved there, and many people in the city of Detroit would never move a church into an urban community. Most of the churches are moving outside of the community because they want to engage people with a higher economic base or people who have a different culture. But I believe that it's the storm, it's the ships that are on the stormy seas that need the most guidance. And so we take the church to the people before we try to get the people to come to the house church. We actually take the love church to them. And so we've been able to impact the lives of young people in the community. We've gone to families, into schools, and into community centers. And because we carry the gospel, because we are the walking gospel, we share the word everywhere we go. What has happened is now that has inspired people to want to know more about God. And so I just say that if there is a call of God, if there's ever been a call of God, the time is now, that God is calling for us to revitalize and to revive the Spirit of God in the city of Detroit. But it's going to take some help. It's going to take some folks who have the Word and who have the heart and who have the resources to come into the city and to partner with those of us in the city of Detroit